Two wheels, a handful of steel tubes. Yet, this machine can balance in motion, transform human effort into torque, and survive powerful braking forces. Every spoke begins under tension. Every gear changes force and speed. Every turn is a carefully controlled fall. Simple on the outside, precise on the inside. This is not just a bicycle, it is a masterpiece of everyday engineering. Across villages and cities, the bicycle is so familiar that we rarely ask how this remarkably simple machine actually works. Two narrow wheels carry a rider, while pedals, cranks, chains, and sprockets transform human effort into smooth forward motion. At its heart is the wheel, a rotating structure that carries the load while allowing the axle to move efficiently. The chain transmits power by carrying tension from the front chainring to a sprocket connected to the rear wheel. But the bicycle was not one sudden invention. It combines engineering ideas refined over thousands of years. The frame carries the rider's weight to both axles, while the rotating wheels allow that load to travel efficiently. Wheeled transport appeared by the 4th millennium BCE, although its exact origin and inventor remain unknown. Early builders improved wooden wheels and hubs, but solid wheels remained heavy because they required so much material. By around 2200 BCE, spokes connected hub and rim using far less material than solid wheels. Modern wire spokes are pre-tensioned. Under load, nearby spoke tension decreases slightly while the rim distributes the force. The next breakthrough placed two wheels in line with a saddle between them and a steerable front wheel. In 1817, Carl Drais demonstrated a steerable two-wheeled running machine, still without pedals or a chain. The rider moved by pushing against the ground. Steering existed, but continuous rotary power had not yet arrived. In 1860s Paris, pedals and cranks reached the front axle, making continuous wheel rotation possible. The Velocipede proved that pedal power worked, but rigid tires on rough roads earned it the name Bone Shaker. Without gears, designers enlarged the driven wheel to travel farther with every pedal revolution, creating the high-wheel bicycle. One wheel revolution covers one circumference. Therefore, a larger driven wheel travels farther for each pedal rotation. But the high saddle raised the center of mass, making sudden obstacles capable of pitching the bicycle forward. During the 1870s and 1880s, chain drive development separated pedal rotation from the size of the driven wheel. The upper driving span carries power rearward, while the lower return span brings the chain back toward the chainring. The 1885 Rover combined rear-wheel chain drive, nearly equal wheels, and a lower, safer riding position. Triangulated tubes resist bending efficiently, allowing the diamond frame to remain lightweight, rigid, and structurally strong. Thomson patented a pneumatic tire in 1845. Dunlop later advanced its practical use on bicycles in 1888. No single invention created the bicycle. Wheels, steering, pedals, chain drive, frame geometry, and tires evolved gradually. Human force enters through the pedal. Applied through the crank arm, it produces torque around the bottom bracket. The crank and chainring rotate together, converting pedal torque into tension within the upper driving span. That tension travels through the roller chain to the rear sprocket, where it becomes rotary torque again. The rear hub transfers this torque into the wheel, while bearings permit smooth rotation around the supported axle. The driven tire pushes backward against the road, and static friction pushes the bicycle forward without slipping. Human force becomes crank torque, chain tension, wheel rotation, and finally forward motion through one connected engineering system. A moving bicycle gains stability because small steering corrections continually keep its wheels beneath the changing center of mass. When the center of mass moves beyond the tire support line, gravity creates a tipping moment and the bicycle begins falling. A brief steer toward the lean moves the support path underneath the bicycle, correcting imbalance before the lean grows larger. The front assembly rotates about its steering axis, shifting the tire contact patch to control the bicycle's support path. A stationary bicycle cannot continuously reposition its support line, so gravity pulls its center of mass away from balance. Steering begins at the head tube. Its angle defines the steering axis around which the fork and front wheel rotate. Fork rake offsets the axle, while trail places the contact paths behind the steering axis, helping directional stability. As the bicycle rolls, trail creates a restoring torque that helps the front wheel align with its direction of travel. Balance depends on keeping the bicycle's center of mass controlled relative to the moving support path beneath its tires. During a turn, tire friction points inward. The bicycle leans, so the combined forces pass through its support. Gear ratio compares front chainring teeth with rear sprocket teeth, determining wheel revolutions produced by each crank turn. A large chainring driving a small sprocket creates high gear. More road distance but greater pedal force is required. A small input chainring driving a larger rear sprocket trades speed for increased torque at the rear wheel hub. Low gearing multiplies rear wheel torque, allowing the same available pedal force to overcome gravity more effectively on a climb. Cadence is crank revolutions per minute. Combined with gear ratio and wheel size, it determines the bicycle's road speed. The derailleur guides the moving chain sideways, transferring it between cassette sprockets and changing the effective gear ratio. Under power, poles lock into the ratchet. While coasting, they slide over the teeth, letting the wheel turn freely. Spokes begin in tension. Under load, tension mainly decreases in the lower spokes instead of spokes pushing upward. The rim spreads a concentrated road load across several neighboring spokes, preventing any single spoke from carrying everything. Ball bearings let the hub rotate around a fixed axle with low friction while supporting both radial and side loads. A rim brake converts cable tension into equal pad pressure, creating friction at both rim sidewalls to slow the wheel. At these brake clamps, a hub-mounted rotor, producing braking torque while keeping the friction surface away from the rim. Braking force acts at the road below the system's center of mass, transferring normal load from rear to front. As braking increases, front normal force rises and rear load falls. Excessive torque can begin lifting the rear wheel. The tire repeatedly deforms and recovers. Material hysteresis dissipates some energy, appearing as rolling resistance against motion. Cornering depends on lateral grip generated within a small contact patch, while lean keeps the force system balanced. The diamond frame routes compression, tension, and bending through triangulated tubes, creating stiffness with relatively little material. Air separates around the bicycle's frontal area, forming a wake and pressure drag that grows rapidly with speed. Most pedal energy becomes motion, while smaller portions are lost through chain friction, bearings, tire deformation, and aerodynamic drag. Balance, steering, gearing, bearings, spokes, brakes, and tires work together, forming one remarkably engineering system.